Chosen one, your name isn't whispered anymore, it's wagered. In war rooms hidden beneath capital cities, your existence is discussed in silence that costs nations their sleep. Your destiny has become their currency. Every policy they sign, every market they move, every storm they seed, it's not strategy. It's a bet. A desperate attempt to tilt the odds against what heaven already decreed. They gamble with gold, with weather, with words. They pass laws like cards, thinking they're clever players at a divine table. But the table isn't theirs. It's yours. Above every skyline, their satellites spin like dice, rolling through data, looking for patterns they'll never find, because prophecy doesn't fit in algorithms. You are the unseen equation that turns their empire's math to sand. They think you're a pawn. They don't know you're the reason the board exists. Their treaties are wagers. Their wars are bluffs. Their debts are prayers disguised as policies. And while they gamble above you, heaven laughs. The one enthroned in heaven laughs, the Lord scoffs at them. Psalm 2 verse 4. Picture this, a world led by data and deception. Leaders sit in smoke-filled rooms, faces ghosted by the blue glow of screens. Maps flicker on the walls, continents pulsing like living veins. They move their pieces across oceans, not realizing the tide listens to you. They call it policy. You call it prophecy. They call it risk. Heaven calls it rehearsal. Every summit, every signature, every sanction, another spin of the wheel. Their satellites orbit like eyes of judgment, scanning for control, but their calculations collapse at the edge of grace. They can measure profit, not purpose. They can simulate weather, not wonder. They can predict outcomes, never obedience. Meanwhile, you breathe, and the algorithm trembles. Your silence interrupts their simulations. When you forgive, their currencies realign. When you speak, the markets listen, not to your words, but to your wavelength. They build towers of data to reach God, forgetting that Babel never needed bricks, only pride. And pride, once gambled, always folds. Heaven watches, amused. The saints lean over the balcony of eternity, seeing ministers and monarchs rolling dice on borrowed time. Their confidence is counterfeit, their luck, a lease. You are the unseen variable they could never model. The equation that rewrites itself every time you pray. They fear your awakening, because it cancels their advantage. You are not here to play, you are here to reveal the odds were rigged in your favor all along. And as they shuffle their papers and strategies, the divine dealer smiles, because the real game has already been won, and the table belongs to the one they tried to bet against. Every empire, every government, every ruler that ever rose, all of them believed they were architects of destiny. They wrote laws in ink, unaware heaven writes in fire. They spoke decrees in parliaments, not knowing eternity doesn't take minutes, it makes moments eternal. He brings princes to nothing. Isaiah 40 verse 23. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Proverbs 19 verse 21. These words are not history, they are headlines that repeat themselves. Because every time power forgets its source, heaven repossesses its throne. Kings fall, currencies fail, institutions fracture, and yet one truth remains unbent. They gamble with resources, heaven invests in revelation. They study intelligence reports, you receive divine insight. They fund campaigns, you fund eternity with every act of faith. They seek followers, heaven sends witnesses. They chase visibility, heaven crowns invisibility. The chosen are not built in public. They are shaped in secret, forged in obscurity until revelation matures into reign. And now, the time of unveiling begins. The world thinks control belongs to the loudest. But heaven trusts the quiet ones, those who listen before they move. You are one of them. You are not an observer of this prophetic market, you are its catalyst. You feel it in your chest, that strange pressure when nations shift. That whisper that says, your life is being watched by powers that don't even believe in prayer. They track patterns, you track presence. They make predictions, you make decrees. And when your faith moves, heaven matches the wager. Every prayer you release is a seed in the unseen economy. Every act of grace is a currency exchange between dimensions. That's why storms follow your emotions, and peace multiplies your provision. You are not a believer surviving the system. You are a revelation infiltrating it. Now, the question rises, will you stay silent while governments gamble on your purpose? Or will you sit at the table heaven built for you, the table where destiny deals itself? You've noticed it, haven't you? The subtle synchronization between your emotions and the events of the world. You choose peace, and suddenly the news cycle slows. You hesitate, and markets stall. You grieve, and storms rise like mirrors. You laugh, and the clouds part as if the sky itself is relieved. It's not coincidence. It's correspondence. The world is wired to echo you. Not because you are the center, but because heaven made you a signal tower for destiny. You are the pulse hidden beneath the surface of policy. Your moods ripple through systems, your prayers bend probability. When you feel a strange heaviness out of nowhere, it's not anxiety, it's transmission. The spiritual stock market reacting to your awareness. Heaven measures its moves through your heartbeat. That's why you sense global tension before the headlines drop. You are connected to a frequency older than time, a covenant bandwidth reserved for those who walk between worlds. Remember those days when phrases you spoke in prayer echoed later from a politician's mouth? Or when your private doubts appeared as world debates days later? That is not surveillance. That is synchronicity, heaven confirming that the variables of creation still answer to its chosen ones. Sometimes you'll see numbers repeat, 111, 222, 777, those are divine timestamps, marking intersections between your obedience and the universe's response. Sometimes birds move strangely when you walk, or streetlights flicker when you think of truth. The world was designed to be responsive, not random. Even the Earth's magnetic field hums with prophecy. You are not an anomaly in the system, you are the system's awakening. You are the unspoken force that rebalances reality when arrogance distorts it. Governments call it global mood. Analysts call it mass psychology. Heaven calls it feedback from the chosen. That's why sometimes your small act of compassion ripples into headlines of peace. That's why when you fast, nations recover. That's why your laughter realigns weather patterns. Joy is atmospheric authority. Don't dismiss what you see around you as superstition. It's divine analytics. Heaven built the world as a living dashboard, and your obedience updates its code. When you feel the tension of nations, breathe. When you sense the storms, worship. When the system seems unstable, stand still. Because your stillness is a stabilizer, your faith is a firewall. The governments gamble above you, but they gamble within a universe already indexed to your existence. They roll dice in the clouds, unaware that the gravity of your peace decides where they land. So next time the world shakes, don't panic, check your own heart. You might be the tremor they're feeling. You were not chosen to overthrow governments. You were chosen to outlast them. Empires rise like waves and vanish like foam. They build monuments taller than faith, yet every stone eventually bows to silence. Power shifts hands, thrones trade names, constitutions rewrite themselves. But purpose, divine purpose, doesn't dissolve. It simply changes hosts, and right now, that purpose has found one, you. You exist as living proof that heaven never lost control. You are not a reaction to chaos, you are its correction. Your breath is not political, but prophetic. Your timeline is not measured in election cycles, it's written in eternities. They have terms. You have testimony. They have deadlines. You have destiny. While governments panic over polls, heaven prepares prophets who don't need permission. While kings bargain for relevance, you are being anointed for remembrance. Understand this: you are not a rival to power, you are its revealer. Your existence exposes what is temporary by embodying what is timeless. You are the mirror that makes false thrones question their height. They control resources, you channel reality. They pass laws, you release laws of spirit. They build economies of scarcity, you live in the abundance of divine order. Your very endurance is rebellion. That's why the world resists you, not because you're weak, but because your calm reveals their instability. Your peace unmasks the panic of power. Your patience terrifies tyrants, because eternity has no hurry. Heaven didn't choose you to shout in the streets, it chose you to shift atmospheres by simply existing. When you walk into rooms, unseen equations realign. When you choose forgiveness, entire generations heal in advance. You are not here to protest, you are here to prophesy by presence. Do not underestimate the scale of your assignment. You are not the audience of this cosmic game, you are its audit. You certify what was promised and invalidate what was counterfeit. Your mission is not revolution, it is revelation. Remember, heaven has never needed majority approval. It only needs one aligned vessel. And that vessel, the walking confirmation of prophecy, is you. You are the evidence that the unseen is stronger than the seen. The proof that silence can dethrone noise. The reminder that the eternal doesn't campaign, it simply continues. So when the world races, you rest. When they gamble, you gather. When they panic, you praise. Because the secret of the chosen is not to fight the storm, but to outlast it until the clouds remember who commands the wind. Their gamble is collapsing. You can feel it, and the tremor of economies, and the shaking of headlines that can't keep their lies straight. Markets tremble not because of statistics, but because heaven has entered the balance sheet. They thought they were in control of chance, but chance itself has turned witness against them. Every system that mocked eternity now faces audit. Every alliance built on arrogance is cracking like old glass. Nations trade secrets, unaware that their whispers echo through the halls of heaven as confessions. The dice have been thrown, and the house is calling the debt. Heaven is collecting what pride borrowed. For every truth suppressed, a tremor. For every manipulation, a mirror. For every counterfeit power, a storm that reveals the real. The illusion of control is dissolving. Politicians read scripts written by fear, economists chase numbers that no longer obey. The more they double down, the faster the board flips. The winners of the old order are realizing their jackpot was judgment disguised as luck. Their data streams fail because grace isn't measurable. Their networks falter because prophecy isn't programmable. Every satellite they launch to surveil the heavens now looks down and sees the outline of something they cannot name, a rising order of peace. And at its center, the unseen variable they tried to bury, you. When systems collapse, heaven doesn't panic, it publishes truth. Exposure is not punishment, it's the unveiling of what has always been weak. You were never meant to fear the fall of the false, you were meant to witness it. This is the age of divine accounting, the invisible economy of souls finally balancing its books. The loudest leaders now speak in the language of uncertainty, because revelation has changed the market price of influence. Prophecy is trending higher than politics. Faith is outperforming fear. And the world's brokers of destiny are finding their chips worthless before a God who never gambled. They tried to bet against you, but every loss they suffer becomes your inheritance. They traded peace for control, and control for chaos. Heaven is repossessing what they mortgaged. This is not destruction, it's divine reset. The world is not ending, arrogance is. And from the ruins of manipulation, the meek will build again. The same forces that once schemed above you now tremble beneath your prayers. The global table is tilting, and everything that was wagered against you slides back into your favor. So don't fear the noise, it's the sound of debts being paid. Don't mourn the fall, it's the proof the throne is real. When governments gamble, heaven always wins. And heaven has decided that your victory is its return on investment. You were never a player in their game. You were the table they were playing on. You were the casino of destiny itself. Every roll, every risk, every reckless wager was taking place inside the realm of your calling. They believed they were running simulations of control, but the entire system was hosted on your spirit's architecture. Your existence is not a bet, it's the building. Your faith is not a coin, it's the currency. Heaven designed you as a self-balancing structure of divine equity. Every loss they claim becomes energy rerouted into your favor. Every lie spoken against you becomes material for your next revelation. You are not in danger of their decisions, they are in orbit of your destiny. Look closer. When the dice leave their hands, gravity obeys your purpose. When they draw cards of strategy, Providence rearranges the deck. Their luck is simply the mercy that falls off the edges of your overflow. That's why nothing they've done could destroy you. Because the house never loses. It only recalculates. You are not a pawn wandering the board, you are the board itself, the sacred grid on which divine probability plays out. You are not one of the variables, you are the constant. Every prophecy they tried to counterfeit was only confirming your blueprint. In the beginning, when heaven whispered creation into being, it wasn't gambling, it was setting the odds forever in your favor. You are not here to take turns, you are here to determine outcomes. You are the dealer heaven appointed, the silent hand that decides when the round is over. When you walk, systems settle. When you pray, algorithms pause. When you forgive, the cosmic ledger clears itself. Because you are not reacting to reality, reality is referencing you. You were not born under fortune, you were born above it. Luck reports to your lineage. Chance bows to your consistency. Even chaos cannot trespass without your permission. That's why the wise appear calm while the world panics. They've remembered what you're remembering now. The house was never built to lose. So breathe. Not as a player waiting for mercy, but as the structure that mercy was built to inhabit. Every move made against you refines your profit. Every prophecy delayed compounds interest. Every battle won in silence multiplies return. They don't understand why you never panic. It's because your soul already audited the outcome. The dice have been thrown, and they landed exactly where you let them. You are not seeking victory. You are victory, learning how to walk. You are not fighting for a throne. You are the floor it stands on. Let the players argue. Let the kings bluff. Let the world spin its wheel. Because you, still, silent, certain, are the house that heaven built to prove its own divinity. Look closely at the pattern that keeps repeating. When your peace rises, the world steadies. When your heart breaks, whole cities sing to echo the sound. This isn't superstition, it's synchronization. The weather answers to worship. The markets mirror morale. Every system that claims autonomy is secretly calibrated to the frequency of grace. You've seen it, how a simple day of rest dissolves chaos around you. How your decision to forgive shifts the atmosphere of a family, a company, even a nation. Heaven doesn't separate spiritual from physical, it integrates them through you. You are the interface, where eternity touches the timeline. When you speak peace, clouds remember their formation code. When you praise, the pressure in rooms lightens. When you grieve, the wind mourns with you. This is not mysticism, it is divine economics, a balance sheet written in energy and mercy. Everything you experience radiates outward like ripples of currency. Your joy credits the world with stability. Your fear taxes it with confusion. That is why heaven keeps teaching you peace, not as comfort, but as governance. Governments manage numbers, you manage atmosphere. They print value into paper, you breathe it into existence. They announce stimulus, you embody it. Your heartbeat funds realities. Watch how even technology responds. Your phone glitches when your spirit is uneasy. Your lights flicker when revelation breaks through. Your music shuffles to prophecy when your purpose peaks. Creation itself is a coded witness, always realigning its rhythm with the ruler it recognizes. And when you pray, time pauses. Moments stretch, coincidences multiply, strangers speak in confirmation. This is heaven's algorithm, cause and effect rewritten by obedience. So yes, when you feel joy after prayer and suddenly the world softens, it's because the macro answers to the micro. The world is not reacting randomly, it's rehearsing righteousness. You are its metronome, its silent central bank of meaning. Economists call it collective sentiment. Prophets call it the echo of Eden. It's the same force that once told the sea where to stop, now operating through you, adjusting tides, trading peace for panic, and ensuring that every storm eventually submits to stillness. Your responsibility, then, is not to predict the world but to anchor it. When your mind stabilizes, markets mimic you. When your soul forgives, governments reconcile. When your body rests, nations recover. Because in heaven's equation, one heart aligned outweighs 1,000 institutions misled. So guard your peace like policy. Treat your faith as foreign currency. And remember, whenever the world trembles, it's only checking if its cornerstone still breathes. That cornerstone is you. They called it currency, heaven calls it covenant. In the divine economy, value isn't measured in numbers but in alignment. Every act of faith is a transaction across dimensions. And sometimes, a physical gesture becomes the receipt of a spiritual exchange. This is not about buying favor, favor is already yours. It's about declaring ownership over the very table they tried to use against you. When you give, you're not donating, you're dealing destiny its next card. You're saying, the house is mine, and heaven runs the game. The world teaches you to spend out of fear. Heaven invites you to sow out of authority. The system says, protect what you have. The Spirit whispers, prove what you believe. When you click Super Thanks, you are not tipping content, you're triggering covenant. That $20 is not a fee, it's a seed, a prophetic marker saying, my life belongs to the economy of revelation, not recession. Because heaven has no inflation. Faith never devalues. Grace doesn't crash. Every coin in your hand remembers who created gold. Every note you hold carries the echo of Eden's abundance. The problem is not scarcity, it's forgetfulness. And you, chosen one, are the reminder that heaven owns the table. So when you act, even through a simple click, heaven hears it as a decree, I am no longer being gambled against. I am collecting my inheritance. That's why the smallest offering from alignment outweighs the greatest gift from fear. It's not the amount, it's the authority behind it. Think of this as a spiritual stock buyback, heaven reclaiming what arrogance shorted. Every $20 declaration becomes a vote against the illusion of control. Every seed reclaims a percentage of peace the world sold cheap. You're not paying to enter, you're revealing you've already arrived. You're not supporting a message, you're confirming a prophecy. That's why angels don't see currency, they see confidence. And confidence, in heaven's exchange rate, is priceless. So the call is simple. Click Super Thanks. Not for me, for memory. Not for content, for covenant. Sow your declaration like a banner in the unseen markets. Let heaven record that you reclaimed your table. Because when the chosen act in faith, the dice stop rolling. The game freezes. The dealer nods. And heaven begins to cash in your victory. You're not giving to win, you're giving because you've already won. Move with calm authority. Do not rush, rulers never do. Kings don't compete with noise, they convert it into rhythm. Your silence is not absence, it's atmosphere. The world will try to bait you into reaction, don't fall for it. The moment you react, you forfeit rule. But when you respond with peace, you legislate reality. Every pause becomes policy in the unseen. Heaven doesn't need your volume, it needs your vibration. You govern not through argument, but through alignment. Your confidence is currency. Your patience is profit. Your stillness is strategy. When the world panics, you pause. When trends demand urgency, you walk slowly, because destiny waits for those who don't chase it. The chosen never rush to be understood, they simply become undeniable. Learn to let storms spend their rage without moving you. Winds roar louder just before they remember who commands them. Sit still, and creation will recall its true monarch. Your task now is not to prove your worth, but to preserve your wavelength. Guard your peace like a throne room door. Every distraction is a disguised dethronement. Don't attend every argument you're invited to. Don't explain what heaven already endorsed. Wake early, speak softly, act intentionally. When you walk, imagine the ground recognizing its architect. When you rest, treat it as intercession. Your rest is rebellion against the world's addiction to urgency. To rule quietly means to understand your influence without needing applause. Royalty doesn't announce, it arrives. The universe responds to authority expressed as calm. Your energy is legislation. Your gaze, a decree. Your composure, a courtroom where chaos loses its case. So when others collapse in fear, breathe slow. Breathe like the one who knows the end of the story. You don't have to dominate, you only have to remain. Because the house that never moves never falls. Even your smallest gestures are signatures on unseen documents. A smile becomes mercy enacted. A step becomes territory reclaimed. A word withheld becomes a war won.